Okay, so good morning, class. For today's lesson, we are going to encounter the different movements of arts and, of course, elements and philosophy. So this time, our objectives are number one is to analyze art elements and principles in the production of work following a specific art style from the various art movements. And number two, identify distinct characteristics of art forms or arts from the various art movements. And number three is to reflect on the derived mood, idea, or message from selected artworks. Okay, modern art and art elements and principles. When we say modern arts refers to artworks produced approximately between 1867 to 1975. So marami nako-confuse dito kasi when you say modern, ito yung present. Pero ang sabi po dito, ang modern arts na-produce approximately between 1867 to 1975. Pag sinabi, yung arts ngayon, pag sinabi natin present, ito na po yung tinatawag natin na digital arts. Okay, so we have the 9 important movements in modern arts or of modern arts. First one, we have so before we go on to art movements, there are 9 art movements. First, we are going to define art movement. So art movement is a passion or style of art with a certain common philosophy or purpose. It is followed by a team of artists for months, years, and even decades. Yan, ito po yung number 1 sa ating 9 movements. So, Impressionism. Impressionism, sabi dito, has these characteristics. Number 1, focuses on light and colors. Uses superior brushwork including large strokes. Applies strokes upon mixed colors that resulted in the impression of reflected light. So this painting for oil canvas is one of the example of Impressionism. So under po siya ng Impressionism. Impressionism is named the surface for the painting of Claude Monet in 1874, The Impression Sunrise. So this painting is called The Sunrise. Okay, number 2, movement. For number 2, we have Expressionism. In Expressionism, works of Expressionist movement used vivid colors to communicate intense and emotional feelings. Experts believe that the social crisis impact of that time, wars being fought, urbanization, etc., compelled artists to distort their rendition of reality. This is an example of Expressionism by Vincent van Gogh's The Starry Night. Again, Starry Night is under Expressionism movement. Number 3, we have Cubism. Cubism, sabi dito, is an abstract art style with a characteristic easily recognized for its surfaces of geometrical planes, and instead of creating realistic figures, shapes, and form, everything is turned geometrical. Example of Cubism by Pablo Picasso, The Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, or sa English po is The Young Ladies of Avignon. Next, we have Dadaism. Dadaism is the short-lived anarchic art movement that rose as a reaction to World War I. Creation out of Dadaism had a characteristic that was anti-aesthetic, rejecting the traditional methods of artistic creation. Its being anti-aesthetic and rebellious was a direct effect of slaughter, conflicts, and tensions brought by the war. So ito po, kung makikita ninyo, Mona Lisa, tapos ginawa nila ng kalokohan. So that's the reaction and the effect or ang tawag dito, resulta po nung World War sa mga pintor natin dati. Next. Okay, so Jean Arp and Tristan Chara, they are the founder of Realism. Next, we have Surrealism. Surrealism is not an anarchic or anti-aesthetic art movement. In fact, the characteristics of surrealist works are inspired by dreams, fantasy, and imagination. The works of Sigmund Freud were most influential to surrealism. So, sinasabi dito na ang surrealism is kabaligtaran naman po noong Dadaism. And in fact, ang kanila pong theme or concept dito ay nagbabase sa dreams, panaginip, and fantasy. Example of surrealism, we have The Persistence of Memory by Salvador Dali. Abstract realism. Visual thoughts are the center of abstract realism. These thoughts vary according to an individual's observations, educational experience, and inborn natures. Example of abstract realism, The Storm in the Sea by Galilei. Abstractionism. Abstractionism refers to the works of art or a reflection in one way or another. In 20th century, abstractionism natural appearance became unimportant. Art is reduced a scene into geometrical shapes, patterns, lines, angles, textures, and spheres of color. The resulting works range from representational abstractionism, depicting still recognizable subjects, to pure abstractionism, where no recognizable subject could be discerned. Ayan, sobrang abstract, guhit, shapes, colors, with different patterns, halos hindi na makabuo or hindi na makakita ng image dun sa kanilang work. Next is Fauvism. Fauvism was a style that used bold, vibrant colors and visual distortions. Its name was derived from Les Fauves, or wild beast, referring to the group of French expressionist painters who painted in this style. Perhaps the most known among them was Henri Matisse. Example of Fauvism by Henri Matisse, Woman with Hat. Futurism. Futurism was an Italian art movement of the early 20th century that aimed to capture in art the dynamism and energy of the modern world. Umberto Boccioni, Unique Forms of Continuity in Space, 1914, Cast, 1972. Tate, Futurism was launched by the Italian poet Filippo Tommaso Marinetti in 1909. Okay po. Thank you for listening and that's all.